Hi, I'm Jen. I'm one of the mentors here at Sunlight, and today we're talking about how to avoid making a mountain out of a molehill. In other words, what things are the things we should really be concerned about, and what are the things that we should not bother to be concerned about? In my house, we decided that character and relationships are absolutely primary. I want my kids to turn into functional adults that call their mom. And so a lot of decisions have to be made that prioritize relationships and character over things that don't matter. So what are the things that don't matter that get in the way? Well, following the schedule exactly was a big stumbling block of mine for a long time. I am a scheduled person. I like consistency. I need routine. I am a list maker. And yet sometimes things happen that are more important than checking things off the list. I'm thinking about one day when, oh gosh, my youngest was probably 1, which means my oldest was 12. And she had been trying to avoid doing a piece of writing. And so I came to her, hey, it's 9 o'clock. We're going to get that done this morning. We're not putting it off any longer. And what I found was that she was reading to the baby. And he had had a very rough night and he was very upset. And he had crawled up in her lap and wanted to be read to. And so she was comforting him and rubbing his head and reading. And I quickly realized that this was something more important than whether or not that work got done today. And as it turned out, the work did get done that day. It just got done later, not on my expected timeline, but the service of comforting a little one and understanding that that was more important was the right decision for both of us. So consistency and the discipline to be consistent and to have that important routine has to be studded with grace and with empathy and with the understanding that the people are more important than the schedule. So what else gets in the way? I had to learn not to put the curriculum over the kids. Because in one part of my head, there's a little voice going, you paid good money for this curriculum. You should use this every day. You need to do the whole book. But if I have a child who's taken a giant leap in his skills and is reading fluently, why are we still doing phonics? Because I paid for the book? Is that a good reason? Sometimes things don't go on the schedule we expect, and that has to be okay. Another problem that I hit early in my homeschool career was that I was trying to do work that the kids were not ready for. I figured we finished the first book, let's do the second book. But if there was a substantial jump in the reading level or something else, they weren't always ready. And I had to learn that that's okay and that they'll be ready. And sometimes we just had to put it down and do something else or not do something else. And then when we came back to it, like as not, they would be ready in a month or two, maybe longer, depending on what the issue was. But that I had to let go of my scheduling expectations and put kids and progress and character and relationships first. So if we need to get all this schoolwork done and we're supposed to do science experiments, which is going to make a big mess in the kitchen, and now all of a sudden we need to make a meal for a friend who, is having a medical emergency, what am I going to do? The science experiments or the meal? Which one are my kids going to get more out of? Like doing a science experiment that we could easily do later this week? Or understanding that we put ourselves out for other people when they need us. That we interrupt the schedule to take care of our people. Yeah, that one won. Even though in my head I'm going, But the schedule, but it says, don't get me wrong, I love the Sunlight Instructor's Guide. I could not homeschool without it. I've been homeschooling with Sunlight for 20 plus years. I've used the Instructor's Guide every step of the way. But I had to let go of the idea that every box needs to be checked, the whole row in one day. If we read ahead in something, that didn't mean I was going to get ahead in every subject. If we fell behind in something, that didn't mean I was going to be behind in every subject. If not every subject ended on the same day at the end of the year, that had to be okay. Some things my kids were like, no, Mom, keep reading. Some things we got behind on because of medical emergency, a new baby, a move, a job change, illness, whatever. And that had to be okay too. A year from now, it is not going to matter if you finished the read aloud on the same day you finished the poetry. It is going to matter that your children empathized with the characters in that read aloud book. That if they know how to be sad with people or understand how to be brave when it's difficult, these are lessons we will keep. Finishing 4 books on exactly the same day, not really a lesson that we're going to keep. As a box checker, that took me longer than I like to admit. But what if they're falling behind? What if we're behind? Okay, so if your child is not progressing in some skill area, if they're not reading better than they were 6 months ago, or they're not learning more math than they knew last year, that is actually a concern. If they're progressing, it does not matter what the neighbor's kid is doing or what your older child did at exactly that age. If your child is progressing and learning more and doing better than he could do last month, 6 months ago, then it's okay. If you're saying, well, he was reading picture books in September and now he's reading short chapter books, that tells me that it's not a problem and it does not matter what the neighbor's kid is reading. Your child is making progress. So that's not behind, because we just have to not be behind like ourselves. It's not a competition with people who are doing a totally different curriculum or, have totally different skills. Now, what if our schedule is getting behind? It's January and we're only on week 12. We're behind, right? Well, what do? Could be nothing. The homeschool police will not come for you if you do not finish week 36, Memorial Day. It doesn't matter. You can just go at your speed, put it down when you need to, pick it up when you're done having a break, keep going. I know people who work until June and then they're done. And then they start the next year in September. And if you don't finish it, that's okay. If you are trying to finish something by a certain date and are looking for what to adjust, feel free to skip something that you do not feel is very important right now. That could be because you don't think you need to read every book, so you put it on the shelf. Maybe we'll read it this summer, maybe we won't. Maybe it's something will come around again. If you're doing world history and you just don't get to cover the Romans, don't worry, the Romans are coming again. You will see them again in another year. So maybe you don't have to do it all right now. You can find things to listen to on audio instead of live reading them. For some reason, that goes faster in my house, listening on audio than if I'm reading it aloud. What do I add if we're skipping something, you ask? Well, add something that brings them joy. If you're skipping 2 books because you don't have time to finish that, but your child wants to go to the library and get 8 books about butterflies, that is a win-win. So relationships for parents. Homeschooling is a big, long journey, and we all need support to make it work. So if you have your mom, your husband, your sister, your best friend who are super supportive and always in your corner and are people that you can talk to when you've had a bad day, that is awesome. If you need to find those people, find them. Maybe it's the other moms at co-op. Maybe it's the other moms at baseball. Who knows? If you do not have those people in your life, please go to the Sunlight app, where you will find Sunlight advisors and mentors and other moms and dads and caregivers who are in this journey too. And we will be the ones to tell you, you're a great mom. You're doing fine. Your kids are beautiful. Good job. So if you need support or have questions, download the Sunlight app, and I will see you there.